look, I know we haven't won yet, and I'm angry about that. I'm frustrated about that. But that does not mean that we can't win, and it doesn't mean that there's not a pathway through our actions that gets us to a win.
We can win this. Despite the Senate's failure to overcome the filibuster and pass S1 before recess, there is a path forward for passing the For the People Act. Let's talk about it. My name is Pablo, and this is Indivisible Weekly. Thanks for joining us. Now, as we talked about in last week's episode, the Senate missed a key deadline to pass the For the People Act. Since they weren't able to get it done before the August recess, some parts of the bill, such as the anti-gerrymandering provisions, might not be as effective as we wanted them to be in time for the 2022 elections. But make no mistake, if we can pass the For the People Act in September, if the Senate can get this done the second they get back from recess, then the For the People Act will still have a transformative effect on our democracy. And while we were dealt a setback last week, we still have a clear path to victory. Here's more from our co-founder and co-executive director, Ezra Levin.
Quick update on the For the People Act. There are 3 takeaways from what happened this week when the Senate tried and failed to pass the For the People Act before going out on August recess. Now, this bill missed the deadline that we set for it, and that means that the anti-gerrymandering provisions, they're going to be weaker. It sucks. I hate it, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is a setback. This is worse. It would have been better for them to pass it. But that doesn't mean the game's over. The For the People Act, if it is passed in September, is still going to have an enormous impact. It will roll back the voter suppression laws that have been passed in Georgia, in Arizona, in Florida, that are being considered in Texas. It'll implement automatic voter registration and election security provisions. It'll get money out of politics, increase transparency in our campaign finance system. It'll do a ton of good. And I'm encouraged that the Senate Majority Leader will bring this up first thing when the Senate comes back. Second thing we got to ask ourselves, though, is who prevented us from getting this done? And the answer is not just Sinema and Manchin. Sure, they have been obstacles, but we know that other senators have been playing a role behind closed doors to prevent any discussion of reform of the filibuster. And we need all Democratic senators on board with this. So one of our tasks is to get all of our senators to be out there publicly saying we got to reform the filibuster to pass the For the People Act. But it's not just our senators who have been obstacles here. I'm sorry to say it, but President Biden has not thrown his full weight into this fight. He's our star player. We worked our butts off to get him into office, but he has really not done much for the democracy fight. He's done a ton for the infrastructure fight, not a ton for the democracy fight. Now, there have been representatives out there like Mondaire Jones who have been calling for him publicly to really get in the game. And if your representative, if your senator, if your state representative, if your state senator isn't calling on the president to help lead on this democracy fight, now's the time to get them on board. And this brings me to the last question, which is what can we actually do? We've been fighting this fight for 6 months and we haven't won yet. And look, I know we haven't won yet, and I'm angry about that. I'm frustrated about that. But that does not mean that we can't win, and it doesn't mean that there's not a pathway through our actions that gets us to a win. I have seen the impact on the calls, on the marches, on the events, on the cross-movement campaigns that we've been running. They are feeling the heat. That is how we have gotten this far. If we were not out there, you would not see the Senate Majority Leader saying failure is not an option. You would not see the Senate prioritizing it. The reason why they are where they are now is because we've pushed them there, and we've just got to push a little harder. It is an honor to be in this fight with you. I'm going to post a 2,000-word essay that I've written on the status of events where you can read more into this if you are interested. But please, take a breather, lick our wounds, have a drink, watch some Ted Lasso, it's great, and then rejoin this fight because we are still in this to win this, and I believe that we will. I'll see you out in the streets.
So we have a lot of work to do, and we need your help. We need you to call your senators. But we also need you to tell your friends and family to get in the fight and remind them why this work is so important. And one of the best ways to do that is to record a video talking about why passing the For the People Act is important to you and urging others to get involved as well. And you'll find links to do all of that in the description below. Thanks so much for watching this week's episode of Indivisible Weekly. As always, be sure to check out the links below for more ways that you can get involved on democracy reform, recovery, and more. And be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss anything from the Indivisible movement. Thanks everyone, take care, and I'll see you next week.